This is Marmite, if Marmite was a swimming snake in jelly. Or human cat food.
Oh, that's rancid. Kangaroo anus. That's exactly what that's like.
However, in the 18th century London, this thing was the meal deal of its time. A meal for the working class, of course, provided by nature in the River Thames.
For this show, you're on my manor, London town.
Cheap, nutritious, the river was rife with them. Even back then, the river was heavily polluted. But eels were one of the few species that could survive. Creatively, this eel is known as the European eel. Otherwise known as Anguilla anguilla, I've probably butchered that, and is an hard bastard like many of the Londoners at the time.
Because here we do things with a bit of style, touch of panache.
Side note, the biggest European eel found is claimed to be 110 kilograms, and they can supposedly live up to 85 years. Anyway, back to London. Life was very tough for your average poor Londoner. This was during a time where starvation was a bigger problem than obesity, believe it or not. Which explains a lot about the consumption of this dish. Spoiler alert, it's not my favourite. However, such a monumental nutrition source for your average poor Londoner meant that the life expectancy during this period went from 25 years of age to 37. And as time moved on, the Thames could barely stop the surrounding population from mutating several arms. So Holland would begin to send thousands of these eels over to the demanding and hungry Londoners, which interestingly is still very much how the market works today, albeit much smaller. As time moved forward, eels more commonly were paired with pies, they were served with mash.
There's your pie straight out the oven, there's your mash.
To a very hungry population that was beginning to get exposure to some of the more modern sources of carbohydrates and diets that we see today. But the jellied eel was always a fan favourite. I mean, how can you not love the texture of this beauty? She is thick. Which brings us on to the elephant in the room. Why the jelly? Well, before the invention of refrigerators, gelatin was often used as a means of storing meat. And the stars would align here, as the eel is a naturally gelatinous fish. I can already hear your mouth watering. The jellied eels were often served with chili vinegar or just plain malt vinegar. And according to experts, the making of jellied eels is very much an art. To make this delicious dish, you simply have to boil the eels in vinegar and water, adding lemon, nutmeg and various other spices to make a beautiful fish stock. Once cooled, this concoction of beautiful spices becomes a gelatinous mess.
Oh, that is me and my jellied eel.
Look at the state of this. I understand many people love it. It's a historical food. It's probably one of the few truly British foods. It helped this hungry, young, poor generation live to the ripe old age of 35. I mean, but come on. So, filled with curiosity, I had to give this beautiful dish a try. There is a legend in London who makes these. There's videos available on it. I am basically neighbouring to London, but I couldn't be asked to go down there. So I've got these absolutely stunning Bradley's Jellied Eels. These things were sold out in every supermarket near me, and I mean, you could say that's because the demand was high, or you could say that no one was buying them. We don't know. So this is probably not the best example of a jellied eel, but we're going to do it nevertheless. I mean, there's not many competitors to Bradley's. This is very much the only solution that you can get in England. I'm sure there are some others, but they have mainstream distribution. It's basically Coca-Cola or 7-Up. They are the big dog in this country, so shout out to Bradley's. I was prodding it, I was poking it, I was shaking it because it shakes like a booty. When you open this bad boy up, I was expecting a smell, but it smells of nothing. As you can see from the back here, the gelatin is from beef. Look at this bowl of history. Let's not pretend like this doesn't look like cat food, and nutritionally it is basically cat food, but humans eat it, so that's fine. I'll be honest, I wanted to celebrate this dish, but it was absolutely horrific. I'm not mad at jelly. I like jelly, like strawberry jelly. What's wrong with you if you don't like it? But this is like not the one. But that is why I'd be the beta male of London back in the day. I'd very much be on the corner just, can I have a penny please, sir? Like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to eat the jelly on it. I didn't really do enough research, but the jelly is not the one. Like, if you just put the fish by itself, it's just an eel. Like, it would taste like any fish.
Tastes like fish.
But with the jelly, and I have to say the vinegar, although it's an objectively nice vinegar, if you're putting it with jelly and an eel, it's not the one. I need to like get in the mind frame. I'm a Londoner back in the day. Come on, we ain't eating in a week, lad. History, River Thames. I think you might vomit if you eat this.
I'm not going near it.
No, just like the actual fish is alright.
That looks so, honestly,
It is disturbing to look at.
Making me gag.
Yeah. Like, what is it going to take for you to have just a little nibble? 50 quid.
Yeah.
Like the fish itself, the eel, if you just ate it, it's just like eating fish, but covering it in jelly. It's like that bad bite of a pork pie that's got the jelly, but that like times 30. And no disrespect to Bradley's, this is great. He's definitely doing what it says on the tin. Yeah, I'm glad I don't live in London back in the day. It's not for me, but that doesn't mean it's not for you. You should definitely, if one of these is in your supermarket, which they're not because they're in such high demand, try one. It is cool, and ultimately that is the most you can ask for in a dish. It's an experience, and you don't want to die before trying this. It is unlike anything I've ever eaten. So there you go, that is the jellied eel tried. On an even sadder note, however, the European eel is now in less than 1% of its population from historical highs, which is of course sad, despite what I think about eating them. And no, this isn't because all those greedy cockneys decided to eat them. There's considered to be a number of facts for the decline in their population, such as barriers to migratory routes, such as dams and turbines, hydropower plants, pollutants, parasites, etc. And that's the sad end to the story, but you never know. The European eel is tough, it is durable. I mean, it managed to survive in the Thames whilst nothing else could. And so to save this population, to save the beautiful European eel, I'm going to do my bit as a true conservationist, and I'm not going to be eating them anymore, you know? But I do think you should try this dish. It's cool. I mean, what did you think? Let me know.